Good morning and welcome to the Zoning Board of Adjustments and Appeals for September 7th. First order of business is roll call. Mr. Kent.
Here.
Ms. Mayweather.
Here.
Mr. Raschke.
Here.
Mr. Culberson.
Here.
Ms. Farrell.
Here.
Ms. Tessmer.
Here.
And Ms. Konishi is here. Next up, we have before us the minutes from the last meeting.
Make a motion to approve.
We have a motion.
Second.
And a second. All in favor of approval, Mr. Kent.
Yes.
Ms. Mayweather.
Yes.
Mr. Raschke.
Yes.
Mr. Culberson.
Yes.
Ms. Farrell.
Yes.
Ms. Tessmer.
Yes.
And Ms. Konishi, yes. I will now turn it over to our city attorney.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Zoning Board of Adjustments and Appeals. This is a board comprised of members that are all appointed by our city commission. They're volunteer members from the community, and they are not city employees. And this board is charged with the authority to hear requests for variances from our city's land development code and can grant a variance request based on whether or not literal enforcement of the code creates an undue or unnecessary burden or hardship, and we're granting that variance wouldn't be contrary to public interest. The way the procedures will work this morning, the chair will call each applicant forward. If you could state your name for the record, address, and then just give a brief description of what you're requesting before the board. The board members will have an opportunity to ask any questions, as well as city staff will be able to present any information related to the variance. And if there are any members from the public and the audience that wish to speak for or against a particular variance, they'll be given an opportunity to do so. I will ask if you are planning to come before the board today to speak, if you could go ahead and stand at this time and I can go ahead and swear you in. If you raise your right hand, do you swear and affirm the testimony you're about to give is the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
And just for a point of information too, if you feel more comfortable coming to the podium in the middle, or if you're welcome to sit here. But if we can just ask if you could speak into the microphone so we can hear you. Thank you.
Thank you. Our first application is the request for a 5-foot variance to allow a 0-foot street side setback in lieu of the required 5-foot setback specified by figure 4.4-1 of the Land Development Code for privacy fences in street side yards in order to construct a 6-foot tall wooden fence on the property located at 1644 Salisbury Street. Can you stand and state your name and address and tell us why you're here?
Hi, my name is Linda Murray. I am the property owner of 1644 Salisbury Street. And may I give my...
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you. I purchased my home in 1998. My home was constructed in 1956. The first property owner constructed a pool in 1968. The pool has been existent, and there is a concrete deck that runs alongside Atlanta Avenue, which is also alongside street side Salisbury Street. When purchasing the home in 1998, a 6-foot privacy fence has already existed. I have since replaced panels of the fence that have dilapidated over the years and recently replaced fence panels alongside Atlanta and also on the back side of my property because the fences were falling, and I actually received a code enforcement order to correct the fence, in which I did correct the fence. I then received another code enforcement order that I incorrectly repaired the fence without obtaining a permit. So I have gone down to the city permit office to obtain a permit, only to have that permit rejected because my fence that has been there since 1968, I have now come before you to ask for a variance to have the setback and also to have the 6-foot fence that has been there since 1998. So I respectfully request a variance for an existing fence. I'm not constructing a new fence. I have repaired panels that were falling and basically needed replacement so that I can correct the property code enforcement so that I can get the permit, so that I can be in compliance with my property with the city. That is my request. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, good morning. For the record, my name is Philip Scarce. I'm a principal planner with the Community Economic Development. Applicant did a wonderful job summarizing everything. Just for some background, this is in the Lake Bentley neighborhood. It's an 87.5 by 100 foot lot, single family structure. It was built in 1956 according to the property appraiser's office. And again, we're here for a variance relief for a 6 foot high fence located on the property line. You see the site plan here. There's purple line here showing the fence. The previous slide showed you is the subject fence in question. There's a pool right behind there, and the deck really comes up to the property line, so there's not many design alternatives. So in the Land Development Code, Figure 4.1-1 requires fences to be set back a minimum of 5 feet from the side property lines, and relates to street sides. A few years ago, that requirement was 15 feet, and the City Commission reduced that distance to a minimum of 5 feet because they were getting a lot of complaints that 15 feet is just taking a little bit too much of somebody's side yard. With that said, she just described the pool being there. The existing wood fence has met its useful life and needs to be replaced. There's really nowhere else to put this fence other than along the property line, and a 6 foot fence is required anyway for safety purposes. So with that being said, the hardship suffered is not the result of any action taken by the applicant. The property is located at the intersection of 2 local roads. The pool was constructed in the street side yard prior to the applicant's purchase of the property. The wood fence has been in the same location for many years. And again, it's impossible to put the fence in 5 feet unless you're going to tear up some of the pool deck. The requested relief is reasonable, proportionate to the degree of hardship suffered by the applicant, and therefore staff is recommending approval of this request.
Thank you. There haven't been any comments from the community?
No, we didn't receive any.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from our board?
Yeah, what's unusual about this request is the swimming pool. We couldn't figure out how that got permitted. We looked through the historical variances, and we did not find anything going back to the 60s that indicated how that was there. But obviously, it's been there for more than 5 decades, and that's the current reality there. So if the property is ever redeveloped, I mean, obviously, anything new would have to come into compliance. But based on that non-conforming condition, we are recommending approval for the variance for the fence to secure the pool area.
Understood.
And it looks like the house is a corner lot. There's no obstruction for the, whatever we call it, the triangle of visibility.
No, there's plenty of room to see around the corner.
Yeah, it's far enough back there to be out of the site visibility triangle there. So we did not see any impacts on the local road network.
I'll make a motion to approve the request.
We have a motion
Second.
and a second. Mr. Kent?
Yes.
Ms. Mayweather?
Yes.
Mr. Rashke?
Yes.
Mr. Culberson?
Yes.
Ms. Farrell?
Yes.
Ms. Tessmer?
Yes.
And Ms. Konishi, yes. It's approved.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Will I get a letter in the mail or something so I can get my permits?
Yes, we'll get that to you very soon.
Okay, thank you so much.
Next up, we have a request for a 3 foot variance to allow a 2 foot interior side setback in lieu of the 5 foot minimum interior side setback for principal structure specified by Table 3.4-6 of the Land Development Code to allow for the construction of an 18 foot by 20 foot walk-in cooler addition on the property located at 4318 North Road 98. Who is here to speak to that?
Good morning. My name is Victor Prubor,
I'm sorry.
the architect.
Hold on a sec, sir. You walked in, I think, after we had already sworn in.
Oh,
No, I can go ahead and do that. If you raise your right hand, do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the whole truth and nothing but the truth? Thank you.
Victor Prebor, I'm the architect. Office 130 South Massachusetts Avenue. This property here, going through an extensive renovation. The Orange Bowl's been there for several years. We've got the restaurant, Lucky's Restaurant and Bar, Orange Bowl. They're doing a total renovation, which will include interior and exterior, redoing all the lanes, redoing the arcade completely, etc. One of the revisions is the restaurant. Restaurant right now, the deliveries are all made through the front door of the restaurant. All the deliveries kind of come through that entrance. And that is right on the parking lot, basically. There's literally, the cars drive right up adjacent to the parking lot, to the front door itself. We will be redoing all that. That's kind of like phase 6 down here. We're having to break it into quite a few phases. This part here, though, is we're having to do some of the things along the perimeter to make room to do the renovation work on the interior. What we're trying to do is create a new delivery point for the restaurant. We can't move towards the parking lot, obviously, because we'd be into the access drive. So the idea is to pull it to this service road that's on the side. This road doesn't go anywhere but to essentially the entrance to the bowling alley and to the back of the shopping center adjacent to us. Across the street from this is a retention pond and the back of the shopping center. So there's really not impacting anybody with by what we're proposing to do. The 2-foot encroachment, it's 2-foot encroachment, I believe. Mainly just on the inside, we were trying to get enough room for the deliveries and so on, and we were just a little short when we were trying to hit that property line to be able to accommodate that. So that's where they're trying to push it out to kind of get the size of the new cooler freezer that'll be going out there, and it's mainly that kind of drop-off zone. So it'll be a new little room that's built there on the right off of that. Remember, you see where that wood siding is? It's going to be right adjacent to that. That's actually an existing cooler for the tiki bar. This new cooler is going adjacent to it, but we're restricted by we're getting into where the backflow preventers and so on. So that's why we're putting it in kind of this area here right now where we're showing the image. And like I say, the size is really dictated by function.
Good morning. Again, for the record, Philip Scarce, Principal Planner with Community Economic Development. I've just been running through the slides as Mr. Prebor's been discussing the proposal. This is the location where the walk-in cooler will go, adjacent next to the building or attached to the building. I'm going to back up a couple. I can see a little bit better here as well. Here, this is looking back out towards 98, looking back east towards US 98. This is if you're looking, standing at where the walk-in cooler is going to be located, just looking right out back there. You're just looking at the back of the adjacent shopping center next to it, and then there's the access drive comes in here. It's a one-way here, and then to get out, you have to kind of go around where that little pod located is, and just go back around there. So. Go to a larger site plan to show you where the structure is going to be located. You can see it highlighted right here. And let's just zoom in a little bit more. See it highlighted right here. This is, again, a 3-foot variance to allow a 2-foot interior side yard setback in lieu of the 5-foot interior side foot setback required by the Land Development Code. While the property has a US 98 address, it's located at the southeast corner of Kennedy Boulevard and Williamstown Boulevard, and it's approximately 425 feet west of US 98. The bowling alley sits behind several businesses, including the Wawa, motor vehicles, sales, First Watch, and a medical clinic. To the south of the subject property, butts the rear line of the Village Plaza Shopping Center, which I showed you that picture where you're looking at the backside there. Due to the location of the restaurant within the building, as you said, that wooden panel area, that's part of a tiki bar that's located on the side of the restaurant, and within the restaurant itself, that's where everything is. The restaurant services are in the bowling alley, so you really can't just like move it over to another location, even though there's a lot of room on the other side, but this is where they're built within the structure. So there's really not a lot of design options unless you want to spend all the money to redo the bowling alley. It was probably a little bit not economically feasible. But regardless, staff finds the amount of the request is reasonable and proportionate to the degree of hardship. Granted variance would not be contrary to the public interest, as the relief meets the spirit and intent of the Land Development Code, and impacts to adjacent properties are minimal. Due to the lack of viable design alternatives, staff is recommending approval, and there were no objections from any adjacent property owners, and we do recommend approval of the variance.
Thank you.
Mr. Pubor, just have a question about the access. Do they have a cross-access agreement with the property to the south to utilize that parking area for deliveries and other customer activities?
Right, yeah, the parking spaces that are across there, I mean, they're used by the bowling alley, and there's a cross-parking agreement. I'm not quite sure how that came about. No one seems to have been able to find out what the logic was and why they, originally this road just went to the bowling alley.
Yeah, I mean, it appears, the area was developed in the early 80s. Maybe at one point, the bowling alley parcel was attached to the shopping center. Maybe it was a leased area. At some point, they separated it. I just want to make sure that they have some type of agreement in place so there's no friction or conflict with the owners of the shopping center. They use that for parking their delivery trucks there for this cooler.
Right, there's an assumed agreement.
Okay.
I guess we can go ahead and try and check into that and see if we can kind of find out where that.
I mean, they were noticed. We did not receive anything, and it will be a private civil matter, but just want to make you aware. So, and I wasn't sure whether or not you looked into that.
Yeah.
Will the cooler have external access or only internal access?
Well, there will be an exterior door on that side. That's the primary reason for this one, so deliveries can be brought to that. Then there's a cooler. That cooler is the one that will be used early in the morning. You load that up, and then there's an area inside where they can pick up empty kegs and so on. But so they can put things on the inside. The cooler itself will just be accessible from the inside.
And I'm sure the city has already examined it, but there's no issue with what I assume is that gas backflow valve?
Right, it's on the other side of that little sidewalk that comes out the door, so there's no interference with that, with those apparatus. That's what I was looking at there at the site and just seeing if there's gonna be any interference, but the only thing they'll have to do is just, if you saw that wiring and the antennas on the side of the building, they'll just have to do something with that, but that's not within those are not public facilities.
And Phil, just to confirm, the size of this addition, it will not require full site plan review, is that correct, or just go through a
Correct,
building
yes,
permit?
it's under 400 square feet, yeah, it'll just require just a building permit.
And we've got permit drawings in now for the entire space, not the exterior yet, that's the one we're working on, but they're putting almost $2 million into this center here to really upgrade it, so it'll look a lot better all the way around.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Mr. Kent?
Yes.
Ms. Mayweather?
Yes.
Mr. Rashke?
Yes.
Mr. Culberson?
Yes.
Ms. Farrell?
Yes.
Ms. Tesmer? And Ms. Konishi, yes. It's approved.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, do we have any unfinished business other than welcome back, Matt?
Oh, thank you. I think next month we will have several variances out in Sandpiper. There was a new phase that was approved out there a few years back, and developer is looking at about 6 slots, I believe, for setback relief for the corner setbacks. So we'll probably have about 5 or 6 applications. They're all very similar and very, you know,
Sandpiper.
very routine. But, yeah. Sandpiper. The gift that keeps on giving, you know.
Do we have any new business? All right, well, I guess we're adjourned.
Okay.
Thank you. Good day. I like when they're quick.
Yeah.
See y'all later.
See you next month. Sounds like, though, if we have a